Welcome to Studies and Narratives in Power. We're going to be looking at the narrative arc of Elliot and Luan in Gangs of London Season 3. In this season, Elliot's position takes on a new turn. By the start of the season, Elliot holds a senior distribution position within London and is seen early in the series doing deals with another fairly senior distributor. However, a key focus on this video is on how Elliot's character arc further plays out compared to Season 2. In Season 2, we saw an Elliot who is still largely under the thumb of the investors. In Season 3, although we see an Elliot who is still involved with the gangs, it's clear that his level of autonomy appears greater. A central focus in terms of Season 1 and 2, in terms of Elliot's family, was on Elliot's relationship with his father and his desire to reconcile his family ideals with what he had around him. In Season 3, the focus shifts significantly. A major disillusionment takes place as he inches closer to the truth about how his wife and child actually died. In the midst of this, he finds his autonomy challenged as he's brought to the point of begging a remanded Sean Wallace for answers. As he gets closer to the truth, the Dumanis turn on him, and what he had seen as a new family in the form of Danny and Shannon turns out to be a massive lie, as far greater loyalties are revealed to be at play in the season. Although the agency that Danny demonstrates in this betrayal is extremely limited and incidental. Although it may not have been a lie from the start, unfortunately, Elliot's growing proximity to the truth turns him into a massive liability in the eyes of both the Dumanis and the Wallaces. Season 3 reveals significant differences as well as similarities between Elliot and Luan. Luan has a real family. Elliot turned out to be largely surrounded by manipulators, each with their own agendas and loyalties. Luan, in Season 2, had his own character arc, one of fighting back against the powers that be, the investors and Koba, in order to protect and preserve the integrity of his family unit. Elliot is more or less doing the same in Season 2, in his case on account of his father and the Dumanis. Throughout, from Season 1 right up to Season 3, we see Luan portrayed as a wealthy businessman and gang leader, whereas Elliot is still early in the process of emerging into his own as a more established leader in that world. However, in Season 3, at the hands of the very same industry that brought Luan his immense wealth, we see a Luan who loses his daughter to it on account of the laced drugs. For a man who values family to the extent that he does, this is a character-defining arc for him. Although we saw his family members placed in danger on numerous prior occasions, we never before saw Luan on camera forced to process the loss of a family member, at least not at the hands of the drugs trade. And despite all the attempts at vengeance that ensue, we finally observe a Luan who demonstrates a trait we have seen throughout the Gangs of London franchise: restraint. Luan was frustrated at Elliot for beating up a large swathe of his men early in Season 1, but showed restraint. Luan was frustrated at Ed Dumani for not honouring his deal with Mossy, but showed restraint. Luan was further frustrated again at Ed Dumani for fatally cutting down several of his men as they attempted to recover the stolen contraband from the hotel unit, but again, Luan showed restraint. And when finally confronted towards the end of Season 3 with the family of the man who he believed was responsible for the death of his daughter, Ed Dumani, again, Luan showed immense restraint with the support of his wife's pleas. What we already know from Season 1 of Gangs of London is that this is a significant character evolution for Luan. It had been revealed in Season 1 that in events preceding the chronology of that season, Luan had killed an entire family as a deal with Finn Wallace in exchange for Finn's financial services. Thus, Luan was not previously above such a horrific act when he considered the motive as in line with his interests. But as mentioned, here in Season 3, we find a Luan who, on the pleading of his wife and his own self-reflection, decides to refrain from eliminating the two Dumanis that he had held captive. A common ground emerges between Luan and Elliot in Season 3. Despite an immense amount of lethal power deployed to uncover the truth of how things had unfolded, Luan refrains from eliminating the two Dumani family members. And as it appears, although this is mere speculation, that Elliot likely also refrained from eliminating Billy Wallace, despite what Billy, right at the end of the season, reveals about his own involvement in Elliot's family's death. Thus, an overarching theme of Season 3 in the specific character arcs of Elliot and Luan is that they learn a level of restraint and forgiveness in their dealings with their enemies, although how these decisions will impact them come Season 4 is unclear.